Well, my wife tells me it's been 90 days since the collapse of everything, since the power grid went down and that thin veil of civilization we had vanished instantly. People started killing each other and over the smallest of things, and morality went out the window, and just the worst of people. Who'd have thought that everything would have fallen apart this quickly? And it's not all bad news, though. We had a few good moments. You know, after we defeated Jim and his gang, you know, we actually had about 3 or 4 days, maybe even a week, where we thought things were going to be all right, and things were looking up, actually. You know, they just not having that pressure, that constant pressure from the front of the neighborhood and feeling trapped in here. That, you know, a lot of us immediately felt a lot better after we got rid of Jim, ran him off and his gang. All was good. We actually started going out on some scouting missions and finding some things. You know, we started actually accumulating gasoline and stuff. We met that guy, Larry, who's 3 neighborhoods over, and the day that shit went down, the day that the power went out, Larry was out driving his big rig, and he just so happened to be carrying a full load, or almost full load, of high octane gasoline. He was going to deliver gasoline to the gas stations, and that's when everything went sideways, and he just drove his truck. He just drove the whole rig home, and I'm thankful for that, because we've been able to establish a trading network with him, and that's been great, man. Just being able to get a steady, reliable supply of fresh, clean gasoline right out of the tanker truck, and not having to, you know, siphon it out of a vehicle that who knows how long it's been sitting there on the side of the road and stuff like that. And so it's great. It's pure gas too. I couldn't believe it. I thought for sure it would be, you know, ethanol gas or something, but no. Larry's got, I don't know, probably by now he's probably got 3/4 of a tanker truck full of high octane gasoline, pure gas. So that's awesome. Boy, if I'd have known, I would have stocked up on these a lot more. Who'd have thought that Bic lighters would be in such high demand? Everybody wants to flick a Bic now. You know, no one has the ability to start like primitive fires or anything like that. So everyone needs fire. It's winter time. So Bic lighters have been in super high demand. In fact, Larry told me he would trade me for every full Bic I give him. He'd give me a 5-gallon can, or 5 gallons worth of that premium gasoline. So that's been really great. And we've been going around and hitting convenience stores, and you know, early on, everyone went in to all the stores. You know, the grocery store was first. They hit the grocery store, cleaned it out, ransacked the place. There was blood everywhere, so I'm assuming it was violent and bloody. I don't know. I was staying here. But anyway, over the next couple of weeks after the collapse, pretty much all of the stores, you know, convenience stores, it didn't matter. Any storefront that you could imagine, just about had been broken into. But I was holding out hope that, you know, people had forgotten about the feed store, because it's kind of off the beaten path a little bit. And sure enough, we got down there, and it was untouched. We were able to get all the rabbit feed, all the quail feed, all the chicken feed we'll need for probably at least with the livestock count we have right now, it's enough to supply us at least for the next year. So that's amazing. So we've had a few, you know, moments of success and relative tranquility, relative normalcy, where things were starting to settle down. People were starting to pitch in. They realized that, you know, this is life or death. We have to pitch in. And this is not just go along to get along. We have to, like, you know, give 110% every day if we're going to make it through this thing. So anyway, it hadn't been without its bad times, though. You know, I mean, all the way back to the confrontation with Jim and his gang. That was awful. A lot of people had to, you know, take another human life to preserve their own, and that's never a great option. But we don't live in a live and let live world anymore. It's, you know, the haves and the have-nots, and in the past that would have been based on, you know, socioeconomic status or something like that, but now it's based on what do you actually physically have. You know, it's amazing to me that a lot of these people that are still doing well and thriving are not the elites of society. They're just people that had been prepping and you know, either preserving their own meat and vegetables and things like that, or, you know, a lot of cases people buying long-term food storage. I've met several of them that have, like, you know, either Mountain House or other types of freeze-dried food that they've been able to do okay. They're not thriving, but they're doing okay. They're not starving to death. That's the main thing. So I should be good on the barrel there. I haven't used it since I cleaned it last, but I'm carrying all my guns so much that I have to clean them a lot more often, just to make sure they're ready. I think I will put a little oil down the barrel though, just to preserve everything, because I am carrying it in inclemental weather, you know. So if it's raining outside, then guess what? My guns get wet, and so I'm having to clean them a lot more often, because I mean, the way things are looking, it may be a very, very long time before humans are able to manufacture something like this again. So this may be one of the last Glocks that I'm ever able to acquire, so I've got to take care of it. But yeah, there's been a lot of bad stuff here lately. As we've scouted around and left our little area, I almost called it a compound, but it's not a compound, because we're so open. There's really no way to secure this area, and that's been one of our problems that we're running into. It's constant. People coming in, you know, we'll put up barricades on the most obvious places where people would come through, and then they'll just skirt around them. They'll go find another way. They'll go find a weak link in one of our fences, or come through one of the neighbors' backyards, and next thing you know, they're right on top of you in your backyard, stealing your chickens, whatever, stealing your rabbits, whatever you've got back there that's not bolted down. They'll certainly take advantage of that. Oh man, even my mag well is just totally full of dust. It's been really windy and dry here the past, I don't know, few weeks, I would say. And you know, it's hard for me to even keep track of time nowadays, because my sleep schedule is so erratic. I haven't slept in at least 2 days. Just things have been so chaotic around here, I can't sleep. It's just unsettling, let's just say that. If you could see what I've seen, you'd be really nervous about it too, about closing your eyes. And it all started about a week ago. I was out on a scouting mission, and I was actually working my way towards the city, because, you know, I'm trying to establish a perimeter, and we've already gone out to the east, and the city is out west of me here. And so anyway, I took my little Honda out and had a full tank of fuel, had my backpack, had everything, and I was headed into the city. And I came across the top of one of the hills where it was kind of a blind hill. On the other side, I couldn't see what was going on until I topped the hill. I topped the hill, and for at least a mile and a half, all I could see were people. Desperate people, starving people. They started screaming at me as soon as they saw me and running toward me as quickly as I could, without spilling the motorcycle. I mean, it shocked me when I came across. I mean, I was close to them. I mean, within 20 feet after I topped that hill, and they started coming at me, and I had to turn that bike around, because they would have ripped me apart. That's the vibe I was getting off these people. Now, fortunately for me, none of them, at least up front, were armed. And after I pulled back a ways, I pulled back away from them about a mile, and I got binoculars out and stuff, and I sat up there on the hill and just kind of watched them. And from what I could tell, the majority of them, the vast majority of them, are unarmed. But it doesn't matter. They're basically like, you know, they're squatters, they're vagrants that are coming out here to take advantage of our, you know, either generosity, or if you don't give generosity, they'll just take what they want from you. So that was the vibe I got off of that group. And I came back here and reported everything to my neighbors, and we had a little neighborhood meeting with what's left of us, which is not much. Not a whole lot left now. But we had our little meeting, and I told them what happened. I showed them pictures because I still have my FLIR, and it was actually after dark whenever all this happened. So that added to the fear factor. And part of the reason I was so scared is that, you know, I couldn't see very far, and suddenly I come up over this hill, and as far as I could see, it's just eyes looking at me and people screaming and stuff. It really was like Night of the Living Dead or something like that. And so that was pretty unsettling. I came back and told everybody in the group what I'd discovered, and we talked about it. Unfortunately, the decision of the group was quite split. A lot of people don't want to leave, and I understand them not wanting to leave and go out into the unknown. But it's not necessarily the unknown, because we have a place. I have a bug out location where we've got 100 acres of land. It's pretty much undeveloped raw land. We do have some structure there, but it's not much. We've got an old dilapidated mobile home, a well house that has a functioning well in it, and 2 shipping containers that could both be, all 3 of those buildings could be converted into living accommodations. It's not going to be like living in the Ritz or anything, but we'll be able to at least make it through winter, and maybe we can make a good start next year and build something more permanent. You know, I don't know. I mean, I don't even know that we're going to make it through the winter, to be honest with you. So that's where we are, though. We can't hold this ground anymore. We've had several incursions into the neighborhood of these people that are, they're basically acting like bums, like squatters, like homeless people. And I guess that's essentially what they are. They've shit their nest there in the city, I presume, and they're going to come out here and shit in our nest now. And that's basically what's going on. That neighborhood back behind me, where there used to be several families back there, and now it's basically vacated. The bums have been coming in there. The city bums have been coming in and basically claiming those places. And, you know, there's no one there to put up any resistance, so they can just come right in and make themselves a home wherever they decide to. And they're trashing the place. They're, you know, they're defecating all over the top of the ground. And we have a strict rule here in our community that, you know, if everybody has to defecate outside, obviously, because there's no working plumbing, or most people don't have the water pressure to flush toilets inside. So what we've been doing is, you know, digging a hole and getting a bucket, and you cut the bottom out of the bucket. You dig a hole first, stick the bucket over the top. If you're lucky enough to have one, and we do, they had those little toilet seat lids that are made to fit on top of a bucket, so you've got a little bit of comfort there. But even if you don't have that, you could just hover over the damn hole and do your business, and then, you know, kick the dirt over the top of it when you're done. It keeps the flies down, the disease, all that sort, the smell, all that sort of stuff. It keeps it at bay. But since these bums started moving in back here and stacking their shit up all over the place, I mean, they're literally like shitting outside the door on the front porch and stuff. Like, they don't have any more sense than that. I would imagine they're probably using the bathroom inside as well. So there have been several fires. That was the other thing. You know, obviously we don't have fire services anymore. So when a structure catches fire now, it just burns to the ground. And I think a lot of that is because, you know, people weren't prepared, and it's getting colder now. So a lot of people are using extreme measures and unsafe methods to have fires and things like that inside of their houses, where they don't have proper chimneys, and you know, it's a mess. So lots and lots of fires. It's not uncommon to see, you know, a big giant plume of smoke over here, and you look over this way, you know, about 80 or, you know, 90 degrees this way, and you'll see another big plume over here. So it's been very common, and it's scary because it's dry enough now that it can catch the grass on fire and spread around here like wildfire. So we've been doing some stuff around our neighborhood here to try to prevent that from happening. But at the end of the day, I'm afraid we're not going to be able to hold this. And that was my argument. We're going to go ahead, you know, about half the group here, so 5 people, are going to load up and we're going to go over to my land. The other 5 have decided they're either going to stay here or they're going to go try to meet up with their other extended families, wherever that is. And, you know, we're not mad at them. We've told them where we're going. So if they change their minds later, they can always join us later, because, you know, I don't want anyone to do anything they don't want to do. And I understand abandoning your house and everything is a big proposition, a scary proposition. So I'm just as worried about it as everyone else. I've been out probably more than anyone else because I have the motorcycle, and I've seen a lot of stuff out here, roadblocks and places you just have to avoid now because they're overrun with marauders and just the worst of people. We haven't had any direct run-ins, but we've heard more and more rumors about the cannibals that are running around out here, and their numbers are growing. So the walls are closing in on us here in this little subdivision neighborhood, and we knew we weren't going to be able to secure it for very long when this whole thing went down, and I'm surprised we've lasted this long. But yeah, 90 days we've made it, but this will be my last patrol tonight, because tomorrow, we've already been working on this today, I've got all of my vehicles as full of gas as I could, you know, as much fuel as I could afford to buy. I filled up my White Buffalo, the big Suburban, the K2500 Suburban, 3/4 ton, so it can pull a lot of weight. I'm going to load up the entire cabin, front seat included, with everything I've got. And that we're talking livestock, so all of my rabbits that I have left, I think we're down to about 10 rabbits left now. So 10 rabbits, cages, 8 quail, the quail cage, all that stuff is going to have to go either in the cabin of the truck or on the trailer. I have the 18-foot trailer. We've already been loading up a lot of this stuff. So we've got all the feed loaded up in my my black Chevy Silverado. It's just a half-ton truck, but we've got all the feed that we should need for the next year. So once we get over there and get established and get everything set up, then we'll be able to just breed the hell out of everything. We'll breed the hell out of all of our rabbits, and we'll make sure that we have plenty of meat, at least to get through this winter and through the spring until planting comes. But yeah, I'm a little worried about being able to get through, because a lot of people, when things went down, you know, people ran out of fuel. They drove their vehicles till they were out of fuel. So there's cars broken down and just abandoned in the middle of the road all over the place. And in some cases, people have put up roadblocks and stuff, but we've been scouting around, and I know where to go and how to avoid those roadblocks. And the plan is, I know this sounds crazy. It sounds crazy to me as I'm saying it out loud, but the plan is I'm going to get on my tractor, and we're going to use my big utility tractor to push vehicles out of the way where necessary. And then we're going to have my wife driving my Suburban, and my other neighbor over here, Todd, he'll be driving my black Chevy with my smaller trailer. It's a 10-foot trailer. So we'll be able to load up 2 trucks and 2 trailers as full as I can get them. I mean, I don't care if I break the axles on them. They only got to make it one more time, one more trip to my land. And we got to get all the generators. We got to get the solar panels. We've got to get winter clothing. We got to get chainsaws, all these tools you see on my wall back behind me. Everything that I might need in the future has to come with me, preferably on this first trip. There are going to be some tough decisions I'm going to have to make, things I'm going to have to leave behind. And what I'm hoping I'll be able to do is quickly get over there tomorrow. I'm sure, you know, because I'm driving the tractor, and the tractor's not very fast, and everybody else is going to be following me. And a couple of the other neighbors are going to have their own vehicles with their stuff loaded up as well. We're not just taking my stuff. They're taking their stuff as well. And so we're going to all go over there and unload and attempt to come back and get another load. If we could get 2 loads, that would be epic. So that's the plan. That's why I wanted to get the Glock cleaned off, at least knock the dust off of it. We may need it tomorrow. And even though these people are unarmed, the sheer number of them and the way that they come in like a horde of people, you know, it's overwhelming. And so they're overwhelming our system here. We just can't, you know, with with the 10 people we have left here, we can't possibly defend this neighborhood against hundreds of people coming in wanting our stuff. So the best thing we can do is get out of here while the getting's good and while we still have something, to preserve. And so that's the plan. It's very risky. I don't know if we're going to make it. It may be a suicide mission, but I know one thing: staying here is a death sentence. So at least we get over to my land, we'll have the opportunity possibly to hunt if all the deer haven't been, hunted into extinction. We'll certainly have the opportunity to fish because I have the pond out there and it's full of good fish. And we should be able to get small game like, squirrel, raccoon, possum, things like that, that you might have turned your nose up at in the past. But you get a bowl full of that after staying up for 2 or 3 days in a row. It's divine. It's ambrosia. It's the best food you'll ever eat. So anyway, I don't know who's going to see this, and whoever does, hopefully it'll be my daughter or some of my family, and maybe some of my friends come along here and they find this and they'll know that I went over to the land. Basically go east. If you know, you know. If you don't, well, that'll keep you out of my land because I don't know you. But to those of you that do know me, come on over to the land. We'll try to make a new life. We're going to try to basically, we're going to dig in trenches and stuff. We're going to have all sorts of defenses, big earth piles, earth berms, where we'll have a place to get behind that dirt, and big wide open areas where we'll be able to see people coming from a long way away, and that'll be a big advantage over this area here, where by the time you see them, they're right on top of you. So anyway, we're going to try to take the high ground over there. I've got a whole bunch of those pallets, those 10-foot long pallets, and I'm thinking about stacking several of them up in key locations and stacking them up vertically like this, where we'll have 4 of them like this stacked up and bolted together, and we can actually make like a a lookout tower or a sniper platform, however you want to look at it. We'll have several of those around the property where we can take the high ground and put up a hell of a fight. That's all we can hope to do. Really what I hope is people just leave us the hell alone, but the reality is they're not going to. There's tens and tens of thousands of people in this city out to my west here. And I can tell they've run out of resources. And most of these people, they don't know where food comes from. They think it comes from the grocery store. And I guess now they're learning that that's not true, now that all the stores have been looted and, there's nothing to eat. So anyway, I hope this finds you well. Hope you're doing better than we are. And come on out. We're going to try to make a new life while we can. I better get back out here and do my final patrol. Oh man, never thought I'd be giving up on my place like this, but again, it's either that or a death sentence. God bless you. I hope you're doing better than us. Hope to see you soon.